When using this approach, it's very important to motivate the students, because just as many instructors have misconceptions about how to teach, so do students have many misconceptions about how to learn. After all, most of the students that we get in higher education have taken countless other courses that are lecture-based courses. In high school, they might have been lectured by their instructors, and they think, this is how I learn. And therefore, moving the information transfer out of the classroom and then replacing class with this question and answer approach might not immediately appeal to them. One of the things that I have done is basically to use the assessment as a motivating factor. So very early on in the semester, after 2 weeks or so, I'll give them the first midterm. There's very little to ask questions about. But I make sure that on that midterm, the majority of the questions look exactly like the questions that I ask in class. So after that midterm, the students come to me and they say, Professor Mazur, can we do more questions in class? Because all of a sudden they see these questions that are asked in class in a very different light. It's the key to getting a good grade for the exam. So that's one approach that you may want to use to motivate the students. The other one, of course, is to explain the benefits of the method and the fact that people all over the world have shown significantly larger learning gains using this method than using a traditional lecture approach, and also to appeal to, I think, their innate desire to develop useful skills, because one of the things that this approach does is that it moves away from memorization and remembering to developing thinking skills, which are valuable to our students no matter what career path they choose. Another question I frequently get is, should we give students credit for the questions that are given in class? And there are two ways of giving credit. One would be credit for getting it right. The other would be credit for participation. I would strongly advise against giving points for getting the question right. Because as soon as you do that as an instructor, students are going to do whatever is needed to get the answer right, because they need that point to get a higher grade, including looking up the answer on the internet and so on. You shift the focus away from the reasoning and more towards the answer, because that's what they get the credit for. What about participation? For the first 15 years that I taught peer instruction, I gave my students participation points based on the belief, and it was a belief, that students wouldn't participate as much if I didn't give them those points. But that same argument that I held for getting the question right also holds for giving participation points. You don't want just the student's body to come to class, you want their minds to come to class. And in fact, I've seen tweets from students in class showing pictures where they're sitting in class with their own clicker and 3 other clickers clicking for their classmates. So I think if you must motivate the students to come to class, you need to do it by providing an activity that has value to them, not by bribing them with points.